Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on the September 15th, 2021. It's a historic day today, everybody. Today, we have no Brendan, and we have no guests, which means this is like our format from the very first two episodes that we did. It was after that where Brendan came in and everything changed. So this is going to be essentially Greg and I yammering at each other, probably insulting each other, complaining about who knows what for the next hour or less, depending upon, how much we can stretch out our client for today. And the client for today, by the way, everybody, is Batman Wears a Diaper. And there will be a brand new segment that will begin sometime midway during the course of our discussion. But before we get into our client for today, Greg has found ourselves a brand new fake sponsor to not give us any money to support the show. So, Greg, why don't you just tell us about this fake sponsor?
Well, this is a public service announcement, so
we would take
money anyway.
All right, so we're still going broke.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Greg Penix, beloved co-host of the renowned podcast, The Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Beloved.
We like to horse around on our show a lot, but today I'd like to talk about something that's no laughing matter. Each day in the United States, 2,000 people die from the side effects of anal bleaching. I know we all want our nether regions to be as clear as the driven snow, but bleaching your anus is like playing Russian roulette with your bunghole. As Socrates once said, your taint is your treasure. It's not your place to risk it. Paid for by the Clean Sphincter Society.
Well,
that was 10 minutes. I did that in 10 minutes. Just
those are words to live by, everyone. Please do not use actual Clorox bleach on your anus. It's probably not a good idea, especially without medical supervision. So,
do you know this is a real thing, Matt? Do you know I didn't make that up?
I do. I've heard that all of the Real Housewives shows, all of the Real Housewives do that.
Yeah, and porn stars do it a lot. They started it, I think.
Every last one of them. Right, because
all the porn ladies.
No one wants to look at that thing. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. I have no clue what attracts people to such things. So, why don't we move on to our client for today? Our client is Batman Wears a Diaper. And so, essentially, I think we can start off this discussion with the concept of, when do superheroes actually go to the bathroom when they're out fighting crime? How do they... you never see it in the comic books. You never see it in the movies. And those costumes they wear look pretty skin tight, but I bet they could hide a good adult-sized diaper in there so that they could fight crime and pee at the same time if they had to.
You would see that the way they draw those skin tight outfits. I mean, you could see. I mean, if the comic would allowed it, you could see the veins in their cock, but you can't because they don't have cocks. Superheroes don't even have genitalia, supposedly.
They're actually already live action figures.
Yeah, exactly. And so it does seem like even if they showed going to the bathroom, it would take them a long time, like getting that spandex off. Some of them are like onesies, like it's not just like, I can pull down my pants. It's just like one costume.
I think all of the super speed superheroes wouldn't have an issue because they could just find a place to go, or they could just use their vibration abilities to vibrate their waste products out of themselves. They would have like super speed poop flying through the air somewhere.
So if you guys aren't as nerdy as me and Matt, like the Flash can move so fast he can vibrate through walls. So it stands to reason he can make his poop vibrate out of his costume and onto the floor.
Or into a toilet, or actually just back out into the world. He could make it all into tiny little particles.
Yeah, through the concrete, he can make it vibrate back to the earth, like under the concrete even, so it wouldn't even make
You know,
a
it kind of
mess.
made me wonder, like with the comic book heroes like Ant-Man and the Atom, like whenever they want to eat, do they shrink down really low so they only have to eat like a tiny little bit, and whenever they get bigger, does that amount of food keep them satisfied? And
I don't
then
think
I
so.
would think that it'd be easy for them to poop because they could just get really, really tiny, and just
I bet
that
their
no one would
stomach
even see them take off their costume.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes the Atom was like 6 inches high. You know, he was like an action figure size. You would see him poop. You'd be like, look at that little guy on my kitchen sink.
Well, he could get smaller than that. They could get like
could.
into molecular atom size.
I know. I'm just saying. Oh, so you're saying when he goes to the bathroom, but if he was 6 inches tall, you'd still see him poop.
Well, that would be more of a cute thing, I think. If you saw something that was 6 inches tall taking a poop, you'd
Yeah.
probably just be cracking up.
I
Or,
know.
you know, going, is that a football? What is going on there? I have no idea.
A football.
You know, it's you
But
want to
I
punt
think-
it.
But I wish we had our colleagues from Spoiler
Country?
Spoiler Country here,
Yeah.
because they could help us with this. But it's I think when the Atom gets big again, he would be hungry again because his stomach grew, and he's just got a tiny amount of food in it, like a pea. or
Yeah, but
a
the
lima
food he
pea.
ate when he was tiny would have been the right size for his stomach at the time, so it would grow with him when he got bigger.
But it hadn't digested yet. Maybe 2 hours later it'd be fine. But like at first, it's just a lima bean in his little belly, and then
Yeah,
when
but it would be a
gets-
giant lima bean when he got bigger. Everything gets
No.
bigger when he gets bigger.
No, I don't think it works that way. The lima
think
bean
what?
get bigger.
You don't think that everything that's within the body of that superhero doesn't adjust along with the superhero?
No, you're right. Now that I think of this completely ludicrous concept, his costume gets bigger, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
His
so the lima
underwear,
bean-
his diaper.
and so if he ate a corn dog, it would get bigger. A little tiny mini corn dog,
Right.
would get
Can you
bigger.
imagine like how much he saves on food bills? So he's like the one
That's good.
superhero that really doesn't have to worry about having a side job to survive because he could literally just buy a hot dog and that would like last him for like a year.
The fucking Flash must spend half of his salary on food. He's like burning up 8,000 calories every 2 seconds. He
Yeah,
must
but
have
he's
to eat
fast enough
constantly.
that he could go to like a third world country and eat his food at a much lower rate of exchange, and then come back to like New York City or wherever it is where the
He
prices
could
are
go
just
to
really high.
a cheap food cart in Thailand.
Yeah, he'll just like head on down to Panama or something and
Yeah.
just get some food on the street, you know, and then he could get and he could keep like the food there all the time and just kind of
Yeah.
visit whenever he's hungry. But you do kind of wonder with that high of a metabolism, like how much does he have to eat to stay alive?
I'm sure a lot. He's like a hummingbird. Hummingbirds have to eat like 4,000 times their body mass a day or something like crazy like that.
And why hasn't there actually been a hummingbird superhero? I'm curious about that. Or I mean, you
Maybe
would
there
know
is.
of
No,
anybody.
I think I would know. I don't
Yeah.
think there has been. I think because hummingbirds aren't like almost all superheroes based on animals are always predators. Nobody wants to be like, oh, the manatee, the crimson manatee. It's always like Wolverine or the wolf. You know,
I wouldn't.
gray
I wouldn't
wolf.
call the wasp a predator.
They're pretty scary. They're predators. Wasps are predators.
What are they preying on?
They all the other bugs. Me.
They,
A wasp once preyed on me. Got the bug, stung the shit out of me. They're predators. They're tough. Nobody wants like I don't know the nightingale as a superhero because it's not a tough or the squirrel. Actually,
Well,
the squirrel girl.
well,
It's kind of
Catwoman, right?
Well, cats are predators. I mean, cats can be.
Yeah, but it's a cat.
Yeah.
And then there's Batman, who has a diaper. We
And
know.
bats.
And of
Yeah.
all the superheroes, Batman needs the diaper the most.
You think so?
Yeah,
More than
I do.
anyone else.
Yeah, because he's the only one who really doesn't have any superpowers.
Oh, so the other superheroes might one of their superpowers that you don't hear about is like the ability to anal retentiveness. They can hold in their
the
shit.
silent
weeks.
superpower for all. It's one thing that actually binds them all together is they all have the ability to deal with their waste products, their urine and their feces.
So if you get bit by a radioactive spider, if
Yes.
you get hit by cosmic rays
Yes,
or gamma rays,
right.
if you come from another planet,
Yes,
that's what they all share that power.
but you're Batman, and you don't have any suit. You just have a utility
That's true.
belt, and that's probably where he keeps his extra diapers. And then where does he? I mean, at some point he's got to like loose the diaper if it gets getting too full, like if he's been captured by the Joker. You think that whenever the supervillains capture the superheroes, do they ever give them bathroom breaks while they're like still stuck in their little
I
prisons or something?
imagine they wouldn't want to smell it, like they're in their lair, like menacing them. They'd be like, "Yeah, I don't want to smell this shit."
Yeah, but they're supervillains. They probably enjoy the smell of it.
I don't know about that. They're not.
Yeah,
Pervert.
it would be their whole thing. It's like they're
But
the
they're
opposite of
perverts.
they're the opposite of normal people. They enjoy the smell of of waste.
I don't know if they're the opposite. They're just super. They're villains who want
Yes.
to steal and rob sometimes, or sometimes murder.
Yes.
But I don't think that necessarily means they want to smell shit and they enjoy it.
So
That
of
seems
all,
like
so it makes you kind of wonder, like, of all of these superpowered heroes and villains, like who would have the worst smelling feces? Would it be
Hulk, obviously.
the Hulk or
You know, the Hulk.
Thanos?
I think the Thanos he'd shit like a diamond hard. Like his sphincter just turns it into this little hard nugget, like a rabbit. Because he's so like strong and
Thanos is like a bear. He just has pellets.
yeah, they're pellets. But I think the Hulk has big, nasty, green, messy shits that are just like diarrhea all over. It's like nasty.
So does he have to like have special treatment from like a proctologist, like a super proctologist? You know, you think that there would be superheroes that work in medicine. You know, like their abilities. What?
There's a side character in Hulk. He was a guest star in many Hulks called Doc Samson. He was a totally huge gamma irradiated guy. So he could beat the shit out of 20 guys. He was a superhero, but he was a psychiatrist. And sometimes he would try to deal with Bruce Banner and Slash the Hulk because he was strong enough to, if Hulk went out of control, Doc Samson could hold his own with him. He had green hair. That was the only Hulk-like thing he had. He got gamma irradiated, but he kept all of his intelligence. I mean, he was pretty steadily. Like Hulk turned into this big monster. This guy was so lucky. He got hit by gamma rays, and he just got really tall and buff. But he did have great hair.
So, but he had green hair.
Yeah.
Because of the gamma rays.
Other than that, though, he was totally like buff and muscle-bound, intelligent, good-looking guy. But he was
right. So my question is regarding not about being a psychiatrist, but being a doctor. That their superpower is how to heal people in a certain way. Because you don't hear about those types of superheroes. Like within certain professions, you could have superheroes, like somebody who's really good at building things.
Like super electrician.
All right. You know, like somebody who could just handle the wiring in a house in a minute.
There was this really lame. Yeah, see, they tried this. There was an 80s superhero in the New Mutants. I think his name was Cypher, which was perfect because he was the lamest Cypher-like dude. He was this little wimpy kid, but he could talk to any computer. Like he had this mutant ability to hook up with any computer just in his brain. And he was the lamest superhero ever. Like every kid was like, Cypher, how lame is that? So he could talk to a TRS-80 computer if he wanted to.
Yeah, but now that would be an amazing power to have.
It's a good power, but it's not a cool superhero power. It's not dynamic.
If you could access the computers across the globe that belong to the rich and powerful and the supervillains as well.
No, it would be a great power to have, but it wouldn't be like a cool superpower like Wolverine.
Oh, okay. So you're basically saying that's not cool because it's not flashy?
Yeah, like I'm sure 12-year-olds wouldn't want to buy that comic book.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't be saying, "Oh, you got the new issue of Cyber."
Yeah, but I thought it wasn't 12-year-olds buying comic books these days. You buy comic books.
Not anymore. I'm too poor. I just read my old ones over and over.
Over and over again.
And my friends send me them. I have like a legion of friends who like take pity on me. Like, "Hey, Greg, I got this graphic novel.
It's a legion of super Greg friends.
I know. I have a lot of people looking out for my welfare.
For your comic book welfare?
Yes. They know how important they are to me.
They all get you comic books? Well, isn't that nice?
And other things. Whiskey
comic books.
The other day, my friend came over on my birthday and brought me a bottle of McCormick's bourbon with balloons tied to them.
Oh, is that Paula?
Yeah.
Paula got your friend. We know everyone knows Paula from this show.
Oh, well, I don't know if they
Paula
saw
is
that
one of our
episode.
longest listeners to the Law Offices of Quibble,
Yeah.
Squabble, and Bicker. And for those of you who care, Greg's birthday was 2 days ago. It was September 13th.
I wonder if it's because maybe Paula's just a groupie of our show and she was trying to curry favor with me.
I
It's not
doubt
because
that.
she's my friend.
I doubt that very much. That she's trying to curry, like she wants to get on the show. Like, I mean, our guest for today, unfortunately, was not feeling well, so he couldn't come on. But
We should call Paula right now.
say, Paula, you ready to be a guest? Here we go. We'll just call up the guys in North Dakota. We'll call a Happy Hour News Team, since apparently we're just like cannibalizing each other for content is what's happening. You get interviewed by them tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys don't listen to the Happy Hour News Team, they're actually entertaining fellas who either one or both of them gets incredibly intoxicated during the course of their show, and that I think is what made them attracted to our show. What's that, Greg?
Under ideal conditions, they both do for sure, but then one of them's an EMT, so we can't. But
yes,
that's just
I don't know if that I would call that ideal conditions, but
let's do a little self promotion. Matt, you were interviewed by them. When is that airing? Do you know?
I have no idea. I mean,
yeah.
I whenever they interviewed me, I wasn't even sure that I was being interviewed when it started. They didn't really give me any preamble. They just kind of put me on and didn't tell me that they were recording.
So if you guys want to hear,
that's how goddamn unprofessional they are.
If you guys love Matt's particular brand of quibbling, and if you want to see him cross quibble into another podcast, keep your eye out for the Happy Hour News Team.
Cross quibble?
Cross quibble.
What's that mean?
That's when you go over into another show and quibble there. It's like CrossFit.
Yeah, because I did I think I squabbled with him a little bit. I bickered with him a little bit because I didn't know I was being recorded when I was being recorded. I wasn't ready.
And you were too sober to deal with it. I would have just been like, yeah, that's whatever. I'm drunk. Great.
I'm like 99% of the time I'm sober doing these podcasts.
I know. That's your problem.
What's in my cup is generally Diet Coke.
It makes you uptight. You got to loosen up. Have a few shots.
Greg, you've seen me drink lots of booze.
Yeah, and you get loosened up a little.
Yeah, how much do I get loosened up, really?
I once saw you dance a little when you were singing karaoke.
The dancing would be essentially like two fingers going up in the air like this. But I'll do that when I'm sober too.
No, but you were moving around.
My wife will tell you. That's like the extent of it.
It was like seeing someone take LSD for the first time, seeing you that drunk. I was like, whoa, Matt is not being himself. He's slightly not as uptight.
Slightly. How am I uptight? What makes me
define
what you mean by that?
You're very reserved. You don't you like things. It's not like you're gonna go dance. See, you could see your favorite band in the world live, and you wouldn't dance. You just stand there going, "This is nice. I like this." Jethro Tull is good. I'm happy I'm here.
Yeah, that was kind of what happened when I saw Jethro Tull. When I saw Rush,
Yeah, but you saw them. Didn't you see them after the fact, like after their heyday, if you will?
That was an awesome concert, regardless of their heyday. Yeah, it was amazing. It was their.
Did you tap your toe at least?
Well, I always tap my toes.
Okay.
Yeah, that always happens.
So you must have been drunk then.
No, I was sober. Completely sober, Greg. I think you just have these misconceptions about me based upon your own idea of how people should be because you're just a judgmental bastard. That's probably
not really.
why.
I'm just like a loosey-goosey moron. So I think everyone should be like me.
A loosey-goosey moron?
Yeah. Even when I'm sober, I'm loosey-goosey. I'm just like...
Well, I will say that you have less inhibitions than I have whenever it comes to public displays of dancing.
Yes. Or singing or whatever.
Well,
like you're singing karaoke.
Yes.
But you don't like just... Do you walk around the house in front of your kids and wife and just start singing?
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why would you just start singing something randomly walking around the house?
I don't know. I sing at work in front of my coworkers. I'm just like, sounds in my head.
I make weird noises around my wife and kids. I'll
That's
I'll
a good
actually
step.
I'll make up songs of stuff that I'm listening to on the television at the moment as it's happening, and my wife will often look at me a bit askew and go,
So you
"Oh,
do.
really?"
So you are singing.
Something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, I don't
proud
do
of
it
you.
all the time. I do it when if I've like heard something over and over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and then it's finally like ingrained in my head. It's more like the music in between segments of a show, like that kind of theme type music.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the, but it's essentially it's me making fun of it. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
So it's like I repeat it, but in my own way, and then or
So
sometimes I'll just come up with lyrics to things.
you watched Brady Bunch a lot as a kid, right? I imagine.
Yeah,
Share my
because I think that
age.
was like the only thing on TV was often the Brady
Just
Bunch.
talking about this with a friend the other day, how Brady Bunch was such a weird show where they had their main theme song
Yeah.
and they had no other music in that show except for that theme song. If Bobby was sad coming home from school, they'd take the same theme but make it sad, like da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And then if Peter came home happy, it would be like da-na-na-na.
I don't think it was just indigenous to that show. I think it was that way for many of the shows of that era. I think it was probably like that for Gilligan's Island, probably for like Petticoat Junction, Green
I remember them
Acres.
having other little bits of music that weren't necessarily the theme song. Brady Bunch, they just had that one piece of music. I think they were cheap and didn't want to pay a songwriter for anything else. So they just said, we got that piece of music and we'll just reuse it and repurpose it.
I think they had to use all of their money to keep Robert Reed quiet about his sexuality. So the money that could have gone to
pay
extra
off his
music,
boyfriends.
they had to pay him
Hush
off
money.
so that he wouldn't like spill the beans and ruin the wholesomeness of their show.
No, it was hush
the
money.
quote unquote wholesomeness.
It was hush money for his boyfriend,
Or to keep what's his name, Barry
Greg.
Williams and Florence Henderson from talking about their affair.
Yeah, they're semi-incestual, faux incestual.
Well, it wouldn't really be. It would be like if they did it on the show. If it was like Mrs. Brady and Greg doing it on the show, then yes, it would be incestuous, because for the show it would be. But
But you know what I mean.
Camera,
as far as we know, Barry Williams is Greg Brady. He's not a person. He's Greg Brady. He has no life. So it would be weird to America if Greg Brady is fucking his mom. That's what people would think. They wouldn't think these actors are having sex.
Well, I think it just depends upon which Americans we're talking about.
Yeah. Your average dumb American that watched Brady Bunch, because not many smart people were watching that. You and me included. We were 8 and 10. No, to be honest, I watched Brady Bunch till I was like 15. I don't know why. I never liked it, but I just kept watching it.
Here's a weird thing that happened, which is that Peter Gabriel wrote a song called "The Barry Williams Show."
Shut up.
No, I'm not joking
Really?
at all. Yeah, and I think it just had to do with his concept of television. He was basically making a satire about television. So if you look at the lyrics of the Barry Williams Show, it talks about that. But I think he later found out after writing the song that there was a legitimate actor named Barry Williams, because Gabriel is British, so he didn't know that Barry Williams was Greg Brady. And so in the music video at one point, the real Barry Williams actually gets a cameo in the music video. But it's somebody else who's playing the part of Barry. Barry Williams is like a talk show host type of guy.
So in his brain, he just picked the most insipid American sounding name.
I guess so. Or British sounding name, or whatever. I don't know where the name Barry comes from.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Is Barry short for something like Bartholomew?
Could be.
I know that it's a nickname used for Barack Obama because he's called Barry. But unless people are like called Raspberry and it's shortened to Barry.
I worked with a guy named Buddy Raspberry. That was his real name.
Buddy Raspberry? No,
his actual name on his birth certificate was Buddy. It was a nickname.
You saw his birth certificate?
No, but I don't think he was lying to me. I asked him, but then I didn't even know his name was Raspberry at the time. And then one day I saw some
Buddy
memo from him, and I was like, Buddy Raspberry?
No way. That's just some guy who's nuts, and he changed his name to it. No. He could have been called Buddy, because there's Buddy Hackett. There's other like buddies, Buddy Ebsen.
No, he says his name. It's like
Right.
I was,
Do you believe
well,
everything people tell you, Greg?
he had no reason to lie.
Sure, he had a reason to lie because he has a name
What?
called Buddy Raspberry that he changed it to because it was probably something like Buddy Einstein or something, and he didn't want to be known as that.
Sphincter Hole, something worse than raspberry.
Buddy Sphincter Hole. Yeah, that could very well be. It could be he just didn't want to be known as that.
Buddy Anal Leakage. That was his
Buddy
real name.
could have been Buddy Festering Pus Wound. We don't know. Could have been anything. And then he could have been a superhero that needed a diaper because we've
Buddy
totally forgotten about our
client.
That's like a very long last name.
It's Russian.
It's like they needed to change that when they got to Staten Island or whatever island, Ellis Island.
Yeah.
And Staten Island. They had their name changed when they got to Ellis Island, and they changed it again when they hit Staten Island.
Yeah, then they went to Long Island, and then they made them all Jewish names. They gave them Greenberg, Nussbaum.
Right, so it all changed from
and now
1,000
Jewish.
dead orphans to Greenberg.
Mhm.
It was well known for that. So actually, it makes me think. Like my family came from overseas around the turn of the 20th century and changed their name when they came here. Did your ancestors do that as well? What generation American are you, Greg?
Well, my parents did come in that huge wave of immigration in the 20s. My grandfather, sorry.
Uh-huh.
But you'd think my name is Pedix.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't change it. They were like, whatever.
Well, it could have been
It's a weird
Pedixopoulos
name.
or something.
It could have been. That's right.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Pedix shit stain.
Pedix 1,000 dead orphans.
But I mean, like my friend and me would always joke. His name was Mario Garcia, and my name is Greg Pedix, and we'd always be like, "Oh, but if we had to like become politicians, and like I'd be George Peters, and he'd be Martin Grace, because that's what they did at Ellis Island. People came in with any name that sounded weird. These guys, they were just like minimum wage workers. Like, okay, here's the stamp. You're in. We change your name to anything weird. They just turn it to an American name. So Bracci would have been Bratson, or I don't know.
Well, my ancestors on my dad's side came here around the time of the Civil War.
Oh, okay. That was before that whole thing.
Yeah. And then on my mother's side, they came around 1910 or so. And my grandfather's last name from the old country was Borodovsky. And they got changed to Boro whenever they came through Ellis Island. So all of my family are known as Boro on my mother's side of the family.
It's kind of sad that they're actually like, you want to come to our country? We don't want to have to strain ourselves to pronounce your stupid
We don't know
name.
how to spell that.
Yeah, we don't want to have to deal with that shit.
We had not learned hooked on phonics back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
It's like, we'd rather you just all went back. Yeah, that would just save us the trouble.
Well, I wonder if I moved to Russia, if they changed my name to like Pedixtovsky or something. They'd be like,
I don't know.
Pedix.
Well, or Iceland, like when we had Einar Haraldsson on like a month or so ago, where we found out that everybody was forced to have a last name with their father's name
That seems
connected
so
to it.
confusing and ridiculous, to be honest.
It would be really hard to work out genealogy from that.
Yeah, because nobody has the same last. Your father has a different last name than you do.
Yeah, you don't know who's connected to who, or maybe they just don't care in Iceland. They don't care that they have incest because they want everybody to look kind of pasty
and have the gout, or no, not the gout, whatever.
Speaking of Iceland, do you know of any Icelandic superheroes? Other than Bjork?
The power to screech.
She is a banshee.
I think there's one called the Fjord.
The Fjord?
Yeah,
in Iceland?
The Crimson Fjord, I think is the
In Iceland, they have a fjord?
Yeah. The Crimson Fjord.
You didn't do well in geography, did you?
No, there's no fjord. I thought fjords were all up there in the north of Europe.
Do you know where you know that Iceland is an island, right?
Yeah, but so you can't have a fjord in an island. What's a fjord?
Well, it's like a Chevrolet, but it's pronounced a little different.
Chevrolet. What a fjord? You can't have a fjord on an island?
You could have one, but to state
Yeah.
that there are just because they're up north is a little bit disingenuous.
I'm just saying, a fjord's a geographical thing, like a mountain or a hill, right? Or a lake or something. So why can't you have one on an island?
But to look into it, since we talked about it, there are a total of 109 fjords in Iceland.
Told you.
So just, you told me, but you didn't know. You just thought there were.
I did know. I was just being coy.
Oh, is that it? You just knew it?
Yeah. Because I know that you're you love the fact that you're the master of geography, so I don't want to hurt your feelings. I know more about geography than you do.
All right.
And it's actually 110 fjords, by the way. Wikipedia article's wrong there.
So a fjord, just so everybody knows, is not just a brand of car. It's a long, narrow, deep inlet of the sea between high cliffs, as in Norway and Iceland, apparently. So Norway and Iceland are known for it. What the hell do I know?
So
Typically formed by submergence of a glaciated valley.
Did you say it's an inlet?
It's an inlet of the sea between high cliffs. So it's got to be high cliffs.
Okay.
So basically anywhere that has high cliffs and an inlet is a fjord. They just pronounce it differently outside of the Scandinavian countries.
High Cliff Gene? I heard of him.
What?
Nothing. That was bad. I hope you didn't hear that. Edit that out.
So I'm wondering if there's like fjords in Oregon, because there's a lot of glaciated areas, you know,
There could be.
in Oregon and in Washington.
But we wouldn't call them a fjord because that's far. We'd change the name.
We would call them arroyos.
Or Ford. Just Ford.
Fjord tough.
Ford. We would call them Ford Toughs.
Remember Henry Fjord we talked about a few weeks ago?
Yeah, Henry Fjord.
Anyway, our client. Well, you know what? I think this is a good time since we're so totally distracted to bring in our new segment because I think we're about a half an hour in. So there's a new segment for the show, which was going to tie into the client we were planning on having, but it still works out in general. But I have to set things up a little bit. This is, I found a new correspondent who wanted to be part of the show. And so I'm like, well, if you want to be part of the show, then you got to do something special that we think would actually fit in with our format and what we do. So I'll play this clip, and you can tell me if this new guy is actually going to fit in. I know we haven't had a new guy since.
You didn't even run this by us, me and Brendan.
I know, it's a surprise. He wanted it to be a surprise. He was like,
okay,
I think that they'll probably appreciate this. So I'm going to play this, and you just tell me if you can hear it or not. So here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Waspy Sodapop, and I'm going to be hosting a new segment for the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker called Food is for Eating. And this will be essentially a recipe that you can make in the comfort of your own home or trailer or wherever you make your food. This particular recipe is near and dear to my heart. It's called a fatty melt, not to be confused with a patty melt. It's similar, but the special ingredient is different. You can't really get it anywhere. The special ingredient is going to be freshly sliced elephant trunk to be sliced into half-inch thick slices. Here's what you want to do. You want to mix Worcestershire sauce, garlic and pepper together in a bowl or a tin hat, whatever you like to mix things in. You brush that mixture over each elephant trunk slice. You can put a garlic clove in each nose hole if you prefer. Salt isn't necessary to add, as the interior of every elephant trunk slice has a natural salty substance that I'm sure you can imagine. You heat your butter in a skillet over medium heat until melted. You add your onions, saute till caramelized. Spray a large skillet to heat over medium heat. This is a separate skillet from the other skillet. You place your elephant trunk slices delicately in the skillet, topping each of them with a slice of Munster cheese after flipping. But before you flip and before you put the cheese on, you gotta fry them slices till the trunk ain't so leathery, because elephant, it can be a little leathery, so you gotta make sure it gets cooked pretty good. You place your tender elephant trunk slices on your choice of toasted bread. Could be pumpernickel, sourdough, German black bread, pita, bread. Then you top it with warm onions, Dijon mustard. Bite into that sucker. Oh my, who knew elephant could taste so good? This has been Waspy Sodapop, and the recipe for today was fatty milk with elephant trunk. Okay, so I figured that he would probably come up with something entertaining, and I was entertained at the very least. I don't know if I'm going to try that particular recipe out, though.
What are you talking about, Waspy?
What?
What's his name? Waspy?
His
Waspy
name
Sodapop?
is Waspy Sodapop. I think his mother called him that because Buddy Raspberry was taken.
But you're talking about him in the third person, I noticed, so it was confusing.
Well, why wouldn't I talk about him in the third person?
I don't know.
It's not me.
I'm drunk.
It's not you, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I think we lost all of our southern listeners.
I think that I don't know where you can get elephant trunk though to make a sandwich with. So that was something that was kind of left out of that recipe.
Oh, that's a big thing in Alabama and North Carolina and South Carolina.
Elephant trunk, like it's not a very thinly sliced trunk either. It's at a half an inch, which I would think that would be kind of hard to get your teeth through. But I don't know of any cultures that actually eat elephant. Do they?
I think they do.
I mean, there must be somewhere.
I think people in Africa, they eat the elephants, yeah.
Or India.
They eat elephant.
Yeah.
They hunt them and they eat them.
You said they hump them?
Hunt them.
Oh, hunt them. Thank you.
They don't hunt them for no reason. I mean, it's only ivory. We kill the elephants and let them rot for ivory. I'm sure those people were like, what the fuck are you doing? This is good elephant meat. I want to eat it.
I mean, if they could get... I don't know if they could kill the elephants with spears. I think it wasn't until like elephant guns came along that they actually take an elephant down. Unless people were jumping up and like slicing their throats or something.
They say that, like, what paleontologists and think that like cavemen used to take down woolly mammoths. That's what humans work together. That's our brains. We could do this. We could be like plan it, like lead it into a little some kind of fjord, if you will, or an inlet, and then
were there cliffs nearby for them to jump off onto the elephant?
Exactly.
Because elephants are well known in the fjords of Norway and Iceland. The great Norse Elephant Plague of 1822.
Haven't you ever heard of Loot Elephant? It's very good.
Loot Elephant? Elephant.
They marinate the elephant in brine and bleach. And, it's very good.
Put it in limestone. And they just crunch their way through it. All right. Well, we totally we got distracted by our new segment, which is I think it was "Food is for Eden," is what he said.
Okay.
Waspy Sodapop. I don't know where he came from, but I'm glad he reached out.
Sounds like from the South, from the Ozarks.
I don't know. The Ozarks.
Yeah.
Ozarks are more like Missouri, not quite the South.
Yeah, but they're hillbillies.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the South, you're talking more like Appalachia. The Smoky Mountains. The Smoky Mountains,
I thought Smoky Mountains were part of the Ozarks.
I don't think so. No, Smoky Mountains are... Well, I don't know if they go up to there in Missouri, but Smoky Mountains are in like the eastern side of Tennessee.
Oh, I thought that was part of the Ozark mountain range.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're not, because I think they go north to south, and Missouri isn't that far east.
I don't even know what a fjord is. I just guessed lucky.
You just knew that they were in Iceland, apparently, because everything in Scandinavia has a fjord.
Yeah.
Well, I have to apologize for my own condescension about fjords, as if I know where all fjords are located. So I apologize to all 3 billion listeners that we have for being a condescending bastard.
They don't need an apology. Just me needs the apology. So I accept your apology.
Well, I have to also apologize.
And I hope you'll do better in the future.
My unprofessional demeanor in acting like I know everything, when in reality I pretend like I do. Like Batman wearing diapers.
Do you think there's another reason why Batman needs a diaper? Is that he's an infantile, or at least adolescent idiot Batman. Like Batman's the cool hero, right? Everyone thinks, oh, Batman's cool. But no, really, he's like this sad psychopath who feels driven to go out every night just because his parents were killed in front of his eyes. He doesn't have any life. Batman is always just like, I am this super serious guy. He doesn't enjoy life. He doesn't even enjoy taking a good shit. Speaking of bathroom habits.
Well, how do you know he doesn't enjoy that?
Because he doesn't. He's grim. He's always grim and just like must fight crime. And like, I'm sure you could make him fucking a fatty melt, the best fatty melt in the world. And he would just be like, this is good sustenance so I can fight crime. I will not enjoy it. Like he's like this sad creature, but you know, because we grew up in America where action heroes are like that kind of guy. They're, you know, douchebag, you know, with their little quips. They're assholes, basically. And like Batman is like, that's not a life. I don't want to be Batman.
But they're assholes who help people?
This is true, but it's kind of sad for them. Just like Superman. Like there's a theory that Superman's life would be a living hell because every second he could hear any crime. He wouldn't have a second to himself. He'd constantly be like, oh shit, I was just about to enjoy watching 5 minutes of a TV show. I just heard with my super hearing, there's a...
But he can hear all of the TV shows at once.
He could, but he has to take care of shit. He can't just relax and do whatever.
I think he picks and chooses, obviously. He picks his battles, the ones that...
Not Superman.
Yeah,
Superman's a Boy Scout.
But Superman doesn't solve everyone's problems.
He tries to, though. That's what I'm saying.
No, he doesn't. You think he's out paying people's bills for them?
No, I'm saying super heroically. Like, he uses his powers like...
Wait, what was the word you used? Super heroically?
Yeah, super heroically.
What did you just say?
I was trying to say super heroically. Like,
okay.
Like he's not gonna pay your bills because he knows other people can do that. But he's like, I have these powers. I can take care of these things that nobody else can. And Superman is such a Boy Scout that like he could like make this elaborate meal. Like, I'm gonna actually make a nice pasta dish tonight. I'm gonna make, you know, spaghetti, you know, puttanesca. And then 5 minutes in, he's gonna hear super hearing, hey, there's an earthquake in Peru and thousands of people are dying. We need Superman. He's going to fly out. He's not going to be like, fuck that.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be 5 minutes. It's like all the time. There's always people dying somewhere.
That's what I mean. And that's how Superman is. So
that's what I'm saying. That's why he picks his battles. He chooses which ones to take care of.
I'm saying he just
if constantly... it was, all right, let's envision a world where a Superman actually exists. Like somebody who's actually got those powers. They're from some other world and they grew up here. And they have not become jaded to the idiocy that are normal human beings on the planet. So, and they have a desire to help people, but they have this ability to hear everything where there's crime happening.
Yeah.
They'd have to choose but they couldn't save everybody that they heard. They just wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be possible.
It's true.
Because things happen simultaneously where it's impossible to do that.
But the way they write Superman, his character, is like he would not sit and finish making his puttanesca and eat it, enjoy it, if he knows that there's something going on that needs his help.
Puttanesca, that's also made with elephant, isn't it?
No. It's made with capers, and I can't remember what else is in puttanesca. It's really good, though.
So basically it's capers.
And other stuff in pasta. But
and capers are just like little buds of flowers, aren't they?
What capers are. I think they're pickled.
Right, they're pickled, but they're like pickled buds of flowers or something.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
but puttanesca actually means pasta of the whore. That's why it's putta.
Pasta with a whore?
No, of the whore, because it's a very cheap to make dish. And so like that was like something, oh yeah, like the whores eat that shit.
All right, so it's spaghetti a la puttanesca.
It was known as a poor person's dish, and for some reason,
just puttanesca itself is just called translates to "Lady of the Night."
Yeah,
which of course is a aphorism for whore. But,
or superheroine. That could be a Batman sidekick. Lady of the Night.
What abilities would a super whore have?
There actually is a comic about that, The Pro.
It's called The Pro?
Yeah, and she's a prostitute, single mom who just has superpowers. I mean, she just had normal, like kick-ass superpowers. She's super strong, super invulnerable.
You think she would have super periods?
She probably had super resistance to getting pregnant and venereal diseases. Like her vagina had some kind of, I don't know, force field. I imagine that would be a good thing if you were a prostitute superhero.
It would be good to have a force field vagina. It like prevents like raping type of thing.
Yeah, that too, of course. Yeah. But also like it would stop any venereal disease from entering or pregnancies.
Right. Well, it'd stop anything from entering. Carrots.
No. Well, a prostitute might have to, that might be one of her jobs. Some John might be like, I like sticking carrots and women. Here's $100. Let me do that to you.
Man, I should have known that this particular episode would just go totally off the rails in so many directions. Whenever the word diaper came into play, it was kind of a given that this was going to be a not safe for work episode.
You thought diaper would lead to carrots and vaginas, though? Did you really think?
I didn't know where. We never know where it's going to lead. I don't know where it's going to wind up. And I do apologize for any newcomers to our show. And it explains why we don't have a huge rise in listeners over the course of the past year that we've been on. Because we probably get some new people, and then they come across a special episode like this one, and they go, oh, I am totally skeeved out, and I need to run away.
So our million listeners hasn't raised one at all. It's not 1,000,001 in the past year.
I don't. What kind of listeners did we have at the beginning? No, our demographic is still pretty much the same. It's like middle-aged women, you know, and the percentage is very similar. It's like 77% of the age of between like 40 and 60, you know, and like 70% women listening to it. And most of the listens come from Apple, you know. And most of them are like 85% are from the United States, although we have a 5% Italian contingent now.
This guy
is like no in Italy, like people actually in Italy listening. You're not in Italy, Greg.
No, I know, but they know I'm a paisan, and I've been in Italy, and I have relatives there. They could be my relatives for all I know.
You're half Italian though.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely because of the pronunciation of my last name. That's where the Italians come from.
I know.
Because I sound Italian even though I'm not Italian.
I know Pedix doesn't sound Italian at all.
No.
It sounds ancient Gaulish.
But that's your dad's last name, so was his nationality Italian? Oh, Sicilian.
He's Sicilian, but Pedix is his ancient name. I think I've said this before.
Oh yeah, it does sound like Asterix and
exactly. Ancient Gauls, like they were like Vikings, and they kicked ass in Sicily, and some of them stayed there. They're like, hey, we're not going back to fucking Gaul or ancient France. We're going to stay in Sicily.
That would be galling to do that.
Yes, Gaulish.
But I need a bladder. That's where you go. If you want a bladder, you go to Gaul.
There's a handful of Pedixes in the whole world, and they're mostly Italian. They're from Sicily.
There are many Pedixes on Facebook, I have found.
Yeah, but compared to how most common names, I'm sure Bracci's not that common either.
It's common in Switzerland. There are many Braccis in Switzerland, and there are pockets of us in the United States. And there was a colony that was formed in Argentina at some point.
Swiss people?
Where was it? Argentina or Uruguay? A bunch of Braccis moved to South America and as a colony. And so down in South America, there's a pocket of Braccis.
Are you talking about chain migration?
I don't know what chain migration is. Oh, you're talking that they were geese and they flew there for the summer?
No, like
or for the winter.
One Bracci moved and then brought all their relatives along.
No, I think it was designed as a colony. Like they actually went there to colonize that area. The bunch of Braccis.
Just Braccis. They're like, if you're not a Bracci,
so I think a woman had contacted me a number of years ago to tell like the story to me about in Switzerland there was this period when lots of people were out of work and they couldn't afford to live there and feed their families, and so they went to the United States, they went to South America, and they developed businesses and lives, and then we were sending their money back, and also bringing people over at the same time.
Was that when the chocolate industry failed in Switzerland?
I think it was maybe the clockmakers.
Yeah,
you know, that's when that went
the
south.
recession.
You know, William Tell couldn't hire anybody to shoot apples for himself anymore, and that's how that all came about. But anyway, But yeah, so for at least my particular pocket, it was a set of brachis that settled like in kind of not quite the Midwest, but the South. There's like a pocket. There's a bunch of us in Tennessee and Mississippi, and there's a bunch of brachis in Michigan as well. And my theory is, and it's a theory, is like these two brothers came from Switzerland, and one of them settled in Tennessee, and the other one moved to Michigan because there's a bunch in Michigan and a bunch in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that happened somewhere in like the 1870s or something like that. So whenever I hear about reparations and things need to be done to African Americans, I go, it wasn't my family that did it. Sorry. It's like they showed up after the war. So they were not slave owners. They were not slave owners at all.
Yeah, that's irrelevant though.
And my other side of the family were Russian Jews, so they showed up in the 1900s.
I think if Batman was wearing a diaper, he would agree with me that Black people deserve reparations. See how I tied it back into our clan?
Yeah, but I think if you have to show that they, their families, the people whose families go back to that era, they're the ones who get the reparations. Of
course.
Not somebody who was like newly moved here from Ethiopia or something.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, you say of course, but there would be some people who would do that. But I think if we're really going to do reparations, we have to kind of start with Native Americans. That's really where.
Well, we did. We gave them casinos.
We gave them casinos. Here's a casino for you.
Well, of course, the Mafia gave them casinos, apparently, because they're all run by the Mafia. I've heard. Allegedly.
I think they can keep the Mafia out if they want to. Out of the reservations. The Mafia
knows how to run casinos.
Mafia doesn't have that many people working for them, though, compared to like everybody on a reservation.
Yeah. But I just read this amazing thing where a guy was saying, okay, this would be something where Black people could get reparations without like everyone having to be like, oh, our taxes are going to increase. All the pot stores that are opening up, like Starbucks now. You have to be.
Starbucks is now a pot store?
No, they're like Starbucks. There is plentiful and.
Oh yes, that's probably more of them.
Yeah, ubiquitous. Yes. So that they could have done that easily. Reparations for Black people. Black people get to run all the legalized pot stores,
or at least get a percentage of the profits.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, it would be better so they could own their own businesses. So like, because these pot stores, it's like everyone wants them, and just be like, okay, that's how we could get around this.
I think there'd be probably a lot of Black people who don't necessarily want to be connected to the pot trade.
Well, now pot is just a good thing.
It's kind of like a lot of people, because there's a lot of people who are religious in the Black community who don't want to be associated with alcohol either, right? So it's kind of like saying, here, you get to have a bar. And I think there would be many people who reject that concept. I see your point, but I don't see it being fully embraced.
Native Americans like being associated with gambling. It's not a good thing,
right?
Ideally, but I mean, they're doing a lot better. A lot of the reservations, like they got a lot of money from this the past 30 years.
And a lot of people do get money from the casinos who are part of those tribes. That's true. Yeah. So, but are you saying is put Black people on reservations, Greg? What are you talking about? That would not go well.
I did not.
That's a bad idea, Greg.
I said you.
That's just you being racist.
No, I think we could just send them back to Africa. Man. That's what I was saying.
They tried that.
I'm saying
that was tried. Remember, with the country of Liberia.
It wasn't tried. It was succeeded. It succeeded. It was Liberia.
Well, I don't know how successful it was. They've had a rough time. They've had a rough go of it.
But
and of course, they didn't all come from that part of Africa. They came from all over Africa.
I know.
It wasn't just the Liberian.
But for a while, Liberia was a pretty stable country in Africa, comparatively, until the past, 40, 50 years.
Well, hell, the United States was a pretty stable country until a few years ago.
We're pretty stable still. Come on. Compared to those countries in Africa.
If somebody had been reelected, the stability would have been challenged, I think.
I know. But at least we don't have child soldiers running around in jeeps shooting at people, warlords and shit. Like some
Yeah,
African
well, that's true, but that's isolated in a few
yeah.
countries.
I mean, we're doing worse than we've done, but we're still pretty fucking stable. We got the nukes. We got the money.
We got the nukes. We got the money.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're all good. No one's gonna give us any shit because we got the nukes and we got the money.
It's true. No one's gonna invade us. They can't invade us. What they?
There are many countries that have nukes now.
Yeah, I know, but not nearly as much as we do.
Even India has. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, all you need is one.
I know, but one nuke wouldn't destroy America. End America. It would fuck us up.
Yeah, it would get a lot of people pissed off.
But we could end the world, America. So, like,
right? Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice position to be in?
No,
we can remove all life on the face of the planet.
But I'm just saying the one benefit of that is like we don't have to meddle in all these countries and do all this shit. It's like nobody can invade us. This isn't defense. Like when we go to these other countries and start wars. I know England had to do that when they were in imperial power, like keep the world like in their sphere because they were a tiny island country. But we don't have to do that at all. I don't understand why we have to. I'm totally going on a tangent now.
No, we're still talking about Batman in a diaper.
Yeah. And so Batman would agree, I think, that the United States does not need to meddle in other countries' affairs.
You know, I think some people who maybe have getting through this particular episode are going, you know, I think we're glad that Brendan came along and they got guests, because this is what happens when it's just Matt and Greg talking. But this was actually the reason for the creation of the podcast.
But then again, this is a very unique form of podcast that some people might be saying every other podcast is lucid and intelligent. It's interesting to hear a completely, misguided, harebrained podcast every now and then.
Well, no, I think everybody can recognize stream of consciousness when they come across it. Well, we're unique because you and I are the only people who are we. So yes, that definitely makes us unique from that regard. But in terms of being like any other knuckleheads out there who have a podcast, they're pretty much run of the mill.
But they wouldn't do it this shittily. They'd have some kind of sound effects or like think it through. Like we can just be like, we're just gonna ramble, and someone might appreciate that.
Well, we could do sound effects, if we really wanted to.
Or you to do your karaoke things, your sound bites.
Not right now, no. It's just got a text from Brendan because he was showing me his crappy tattoo that his wife made him get.
I think it's kind of cute. 2 otters.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, Greg.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to say, though...
Cute for a high schooler.
We never explained today. What Brendan isn't here today because it's kind of a weird reason. He's not sick or anything, but he's actually... to inherit some money from a dead relative, he has to spend a night at a haunted hotel with his wife.
And that is a lie.
Part of the will.
Everyone should know that Greg is lying.
You and your wife must spend a night at a haunted hotel, and then you will get this inheritance from his great uncle, Winifred. Great aunt, I mean. Sorry, great aunt.
His great uncle, Winifred.
Yeah, he was trans before it was cool. And so Winifred, his great uncle.
His trans uncle.
I don't know.
Was an aunt and is now an uncle.
It's a weird thing to put in a will. Like, just give your money to your relatives. No, you have to spend a night in a haunted house. That's just weird. Like, why would you?
Yeah, that's not why this is happening. It's because they're doing an anniversary event for themselves. So they're
in a haunted hotel. Right,
they did it because they're supposed to be haunted, and so Brendan checked it out at 3:00 in the morning last night, and there were no ghosts or anything.
He showed me a picture of those 2 little twin girls at the end of the hallway that were at the hotel. I didn't really read the text, but I was like, "That's scary."
He sent me the same picture, and I sent the comment "Red Rum" back to him.
It's like the Overlook Hotel. I think he's at the Overlook.
The Overlook, which is basically Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood here in Oregon.
Yes,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about him. I hope no Blair Witchiness happens.
Yeah, I don't think that Brendan is concerned about ghosts, just like I have no concern about ghosts. I think Brendan is of a similar mind that ghosts are pussies.
Well, if they're not haunting your place, but if you're in a haunted hotel, that's where ghosts hang out.
Yeah, I
never met
know,
a
but
ghost.
obviously they suck as things, as beings, because when they were alive, this is their choice that they made after they died, was to hang out rattling around in a frickin' hotel for some reason.
It wasn't their choice. You don't get a choice to be a ghost.
Why don't you get a choice? You can go, I don't like this. I could go do something else.
Apparently, some trauma binds you to the earth still. You can't leave the sphere.
That's certainly some numbskull's idea about ghosts anyway. That's certainly
It's
true.
it's the commonly accepted
Based
version of why
upon
ghosts.
no scientific evidence whatsoever.
No, it's science. It's folklore science.
Oh, you should know, Greg, though. We could actually have this debate with real-life ghost hunters in October, because I don't think I told you that we actually have ghost hunters coming in, I think, the second or last week of October.
So they're not ghostbusters, they're ghost hunters.
They're ghost hunters, yes, because they don't know how to bust ghosts. I guess it would be like, how do you put breasts on a ghost?
I see where you're
gonna bust
trying
them.
to go there.
There's something really wrong with me, and I can't really explain it sometimes, but that's where my mind goes whenever I hear things. I turn some nouns into verbs.
Yeah, and then you go back to second grade.
Like if you're going to meet someone and there's a definition of throwing meat at someone, that's how you meet them.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, so it's like if you're going to bust someone, then it's throwing a bust at. You're going to put a bust on them.
You're going to surgically implant breasts.
Or a sculpture.
Yeah.
You throw a bust at somebody. You're busting.
Or you can just chop off their neck and turn their head into a bust. You can bust them.
I don't know if that's the right definition of bust, though. I don't know if that's considered a bust.
Is that a bust?
I think it has to be something that's created.
I know, but it's always the head and like the top of the shoulders, basically.
Right, but I think it has to be sculpted out of something.
Oh.
Now they could do it out of whatever comes out of Batman's diaper.
You could. A shit sculpture.
Right.
Batshit crazy sculpture.
Maybe that's where the term batshit comes from. It's from the concept of Batman.
Crazy. Yeah.
Actually, where did the term batshit crazy come from? Why would that be? Who would put those two things together?
Do you know why I realized something years ago? It was like all these things we say about shit, they all have different meanings. Animal shit. Okay. So ape shit means you're having a crazy good time at a party. Like that party was ape shit.
Well, it also means crazy too.
Yeah, but
like somebody gets really, really angry. It's like they went ape shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it also means that too. It basically means you're off the hook, as the kids like to say. You know how the kids like to say that now?
Which kids are you talking about?
The hip young kids.
The ones in the Icelandic kids?
Yeah, they run around saying, it's off the hook.
Fjord.
Okay, chicken shit,
yes,
for some reason, means cowardly.
Chickens are scared of things.
I know, but apes are known for their insanity. They're closest to us.
If you look at apes often are making noises and they get kind of loud and scary, so I could see the connection to that.
I guess, but they're no crazier
than the thing that doesn't make sense is the batshit crazy one. That's the one that really doesn't make any sense.
That's another one.
I mean, do bats sound crazy?
But then horse shit and cow shit both mean the same thing, so that means nonsense. Like, that's a bunch of horse shit. That's a lie.
Right.
Why are horses known for lying? Are cows known? And then
they usually sleep standing up.
Is that a duplicitous?
Well, you said lying, so I just wanted to,
So they're not lying, you're saying. Okay, so they shouldn't.
Right.
Okay, then you got dog shit, which means like worthless.
Right.
That's fucking dog shit.
Or dog's breakfast, for that matter. Something's a dog's breakfast. That means that it's...
I never heard that expression, but they will eat their own shit, obviously.
You've never heard of that? That's a dog's breakfast? You've never heard that saying before? Oh, it goes back to at least the 20s.
Yeah, in the Philippines.
No, in the America.
But I'm curious why. I was trying to list these all. I'm probably missing one. But why are these different? Chicken shit, you're right. That's the one that makes sense. Chicken is chicken.
Well, ape shit kind of makes sense too.
A little, but then dog shit. We love dogs. Why is there shit?
But at the same time, it's like, why does shit have to be involved? Why can't they just say like apes or like chickens or like bats.
Or maybe they just want to be profane and say shit, but like somehow like horse shit is way different than.
So I think we need to change the saying from batshit crazy to Batman shit crazy.
Okay.
To make it a little more specific to superheroes.
And then if it's not as crazy, it's Robin shit crazy.
Robin shit crazy. It's like you never hear about human shit crazy or human shit something. You know, it's not associated with that because I guess people are making generalities based upon people. In that regard, they obviously make generalities based on people all the time.
Yeah.
But not for that purpose. I don't know, Greg. But I think that if we're gonna just getting back to Batman wearing a diaper, the span of superheroes that wear diapers is probably nearly all of them because if they're out on doing their thing, they don't have the opportunity to take a dump anywhere. You know, they've got to keep it on them, especially if they're out in space. You know, and they're not. They can't
like Captain Marvel or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, unless she or he, depending upon which incarnation of Captain Marvel we're talking about, has the capability of, you know, transcending poop into creating it into something else. You know,
the gold nuggets. Or, alchemy. But I do think though I have read probably 58,000 superhero comic books in my life, and I've never seen it. I've seen their tight spandex clad asses, and there's no hint of a diaper there. So maybe they have some super technological diaper that's extra thin that you can't even see any bulkiness.
Maybe it shifts based upon the angle of the camera.
The panels, it's every camera angle. They're, Spider-Man's leaping.
Well, I know, but then the next angle, it moves around the leg. You know, it's like a shape-shifting colostomy bag.
Okay, so that's another superpower that all superheroes have. They're given this when they get their powers. Right. And here is your super shape-shifting
It's their
diaper.
Part of their swag bag.
Yeah. Now
here's your catheter. Here's your colostomy bag. Here's your IV, so you're always getting nutrition. Keep those nearby.
Here's your saltpeter, so you'll never have any sexual thoughts for 50 years. You won't
because
even
you're
want to
surrounded
have
by
sex.
people of the opposite sex who all are wearing spandex.
And nobody has sex ever in comics until recently, But with the comic code, that couldn't happen.
Yeah,
Spider-Man never fucked Mary Jane. I don't even think he made out with her. I can't even remember a panel with her making out.
Yes, there's always a lot of unrequited stuff. Have you seen the TV show Titans yet?
No.
It's
Is
basically
there fucking in there?
It's it's like a rated R type show.
Oh, I want to see that.
There's a lot of profanity in it and stuff.
Wait, is Starfire in there?
Violence, yes. And Robin does it with her.
There was a lot of implied sexuality with Starfire.
It wasn't implied.
She was friendly with the boys that one.
Yeah, they're not teen Titans in the Titans show. They're like older Titans. So as teens, I could see them not doing it, or as like weird anime comic cartoons. But
are you serious? The new Teen Titans were like 18, 17, 19. They're the ones doing it more than anyone. Like every issue should have had like 3 pages of Robin fucking Starfire, doggy style. Every one. I felt disappointed as a kid. I was like, what the hell's
in
going
and
on
around the diaper.
Yes.
Which takes us back to one of our early episodes when Brendan first came around. Which I was just thinking about the song Roundabouts. It's in and around the lake. It's in and around the diaper. Mountains come out of the sky. Mountains of poop come out of the sky. And they stand there. Anyway, I think that's a good time for us to wrap this sucker up. So our client, for all of those out there who've made it this far, you should know the client was Batman's Got a Diaper or Batman Wears a Diaper.
Because we barely talked about it.
I can't even. So. Well, we did talk. Actually, we talked about it a lot, but we definitely went in various 5% directions. 5% of the time.
We gave 5% of the episode too.
I want to thank our public service announcement from the Clean Sphincter Society. I appreciate them giving a heads up to all of our listeners on what you should not do with bleach.
That's one to grow on.
People. Want to thank our new addition to the show in the form of Waspy Sodapop, who is going to be coming back to us with recipe
name
segment
again?
of
Whiskey soda?
Waspy Sodapop.
Waspy.
Yes, I guess that's what his mother calls him. I
Yeah.
know.
Like,
But anyway, so this has been the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, and hopefully Brendan will be back, and a guest will be here next week. See you then, everybody.
Bye.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!